In today's episode, I get lost. So down the main straight at, where are we? We're in Brazil. I get confused. There we go. I'm gonna have to eat my words again. And I do some mechanical things.
And then we just want to get the thread in.
So we're going to get the Meca Cup1s on the rig today and give them a test and see how they go, and I can't wait. I will add that I haven't paid for these pedals. They have been given to me or supplied to me for free by Bob from Race at Home, the UK official supplier for Meca Cup pedals. Now Bob sent them over to me and said just give them a whirl and give them a review, see how you think they go, and then I can send them back. But Bob's a really nice guy. He's also done something else. He's added a discount code to the website. So if you want to buy these pedals, which are quite competitively priced, when you go to checkout on the website at Race at Home, add in the code SMOKING and you'll get a 10% discount. Bob's a good dude. I'll also add that I'm not going to get any money from that at all. I'm just doing a completely open review for my own benefits of the channel and for your benefits to try and help you pick the right pedals for your rig. So let's get on with it. So we've got the Meca Cup1s on the rig, and I've done a few hours on them, got used to them, so I'm going to drive around now, give you some laps and give you my feedback on what I found out. So straight away, like putting anything new on the rig, there's always that period of not being comfortable at all with them, probably hating them a little bit, and it's exactly the same as I've had with every set of pedals, with every wheel I've put on the rig. It's just that initial it's not what I'm used to phase. I went through that with these, but I have found I settled into them quite quickly once I got the rubbers right. So I started off with them set on their softest setting, threw that away without even driving a lap, went straight up to medium, so full medium on the rubbers, did a couple of laps, didn't like that, and now I've gone the full hard and I've found my happy zone. So I've got all the, I think they're the orange rubbers, so full hard in on the pedal now. They're quite firm, but it seems to be where I enjoy them being. Now I could put one softer rubber in just to bring them down slightly, but the more laps I do with them, the more I like them like this, to be honest. So I think this is probably where I'm going to sit. Now, feelings from the pedals, really good. So initial hit of the pedal, really solid. Lots of feedback. I can feel my pressure changing the attitude of the car under braking. I'd say the only part I'm struggling with at the moment is the mid braking phase. So from entry into apex, I just feel that when I'm really pushing, it feels like I'm getting a lot more rotation with the back of the car, which says to me I'm probably just very close on the micro lockups. So I'm just ever so slightly locking the rear wheels and just forcing the car into a very slight slide. Now, not too bad over a flying lap. Over a course of a race distance, we're going to be causing more heat and more wear to go into the rear tyres, especially in the Cup car. It's going to be an issue, and that's just what I'm finding. It's the only way to explain it is it's almost like I feel like I want to go forward one more click on the brake bias than where I would be with, say, the VRS pedals. So I said with the VRS it always felt like I could go one click further back, and with these they feel very much like I did with the sprints, where I just feel like I need to go one click forward to stop the rear of the car trying to rotate round. Other than that, brake pedals really nice. So I'm really happy with the way apply pressure to the pedal. I'm really happy with the feel. Quite solid, but very, very nice. I feel, I'd say, like the best rubber bump stop pedals that I've tried on a rig so far. These are the best out of the lot. So quite a high high praise there. Throttle pedal. I think the pedal itself is a bit too thin, and I can feel it under my foot. It just feels small and dainty. Doesn't give me an air of confidence like I've got something secure under my foot. It's not bad, but it just doesn't feel great. That pedal faceplate just needs to be almost another third bigger in width, and it'd be spot on. And it doesn't need to be so long. Another problem I'm running into it is because the actual footplate is so long, the bottom of it is resting in the bridge of my foot, and I can feel it on the bridge of my foot. So let's stop the car. So if you say this is my foot, so toes, heel, the bridge in the middle here, which is the slopey part of your foot, I can feel the bottom of that pedal pushing into the bridge of my foot as I push my foot down it, and it's really, really annoying. I wouldn't say it'd be uncomfortable, but it'd definitely start to get on your nerves over a long distance. So I've ended up moving the footplate up to its highest setting, so it's as high up as it will go, to try and move that point further up my foot. And I've also stood the pedals up completely vertical, all of them, to try to stop that lever point on the end of the throttle pedal. And just, they don't need to be that long. The pedal faceplate is very, very long. What to do? Clutch pedal. The throttle pedal is a little bit undersprung for my liking as well. Not bad. I'd say it's around about the same as the VRS, maybe a little less. But the sprints are probably a little stiffer sprung. So out of all the three, the sprints have probably got the stiffest throttle pedal available. Then it's the VRS, and then I think it's the Mecas in at the end. Now I've got the pedal set to full stiff and still undersprung. Don't think it affects my performance too much. It's just a personal preference that I'd like a throttle pedal I can really feel under my foot. But yeah, it doesn't seem to slow me down. The clutch pedal seems really good. It's very, very stiff. It's the opposite of the throttle pedal. It's almost a little oversprung. I haven't played around with it too much yet, so I can't tell you too much about it. I'd say maybe doesn't feel as good as the VRS clutch pedal. Probably feels around about the same as the sprints. So they're all very close in their performance. Generally, they're brilliant. The pedals are so well put together, they feel really, really solid under my feet in the build quality. I can't feel any flex in the pedals themselves. They're not moving around, they're just planted. I mean, 3mm thick stainless steel, they were never going to move. And you can feel it. You can feel the quality of manufacturer under your feet. So, enough talking. Let's go do some hot laps. We'll show them in action, and then we'll go from there. All right, hot lap at Interlagos. Okay, let's try practice start using the clutch pedal. So first time, give it a go. So full clutch down. 1, 2, 3, go. Tell you what, that ain't too bad. There we go. I'm gonna have to eat my words again and say that this clutch pedal's better than I thought it was. Let's try that again. 3, 2, 1, go. No wheel spin. Of course, we have to reset every time because iRacing destroyed the clutch in the Cup car. Well done. So you can only do one start now in the Cup car before the clutch is completely fried. Let's just try it again. What I'm quite impressed with is the fact I haven't touched this pedal. All I did was move the force setting on the pedal down to middle, so it's on the medium setting for the stiffness of the pedal, and that's it. I've done nothing else. I've got so much feeling of where the clutch bite point is on the car. It's uncanny. I've never clutch started off the Cup with a pedal before and had 0 wheel spin on the first attempt, and then the second attempt had so much grip I actually bogged the engine down. I'll just try it again. 3, 2, 1, go. Wow. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the Meca Cup clutch pedal is the best clutch pedal I've ever used in sim racing. There you go. Heard it here first. Let's do one more. That's amazing. I know I said the VRS pedal was really good when I tried that, but I'll be truthful, I've struggled with my starts with the VRS, and that's using the software as well. So I've been using a second clutch button on the steering wheel and the pedal, and I'm struggling. I'm quick, but I'm not as quick as I used to be with the sprints. 3, 2, 1, go. Wow, it's good. It really, really is good. I don't know why, but it's really, really good. I think it's a good. Maybe it's because there's so much tension in the pedal that you can really smoothly bleed out of it, and the way those springs are set up, it just snaps, but it's quite. The pressure coming off is quite consistent all the way through, and it really cracks your foot back, and because of that you're able to really control how you release the pedal. Man, that's so good. So good. Win the Meca Cups. Hands down, the best pedal. The best. Okay, so we're just going to change a rubber and show you how easy it is. So 13mm on the back. Undo that puppy. And you just pull the pedal towards you, you can unscrew it by hand. Basically, it's a rod. It goes all the way up to the top here to the rose joint. It's got a thread in it, and it's threaded into that rose joint, and it's supporting all the rubbers. So, just in case I'm undoing it, you can see the thread coming out the end there. Longest thread in the world. There we go. So, we've got one spacer, 2 washers,
off with a cup, and then we can take the rubber off, pop the new one on, and then put it back together. So cup on, 2 washers, spacer, and then we just want to get the thread in. So use your fingers first, make sure you don't cross the threads. Once it's on and it's screwing in, just pull the pedal towards you. And then just a 13mm. Don't need to do it up too tight, just nip it up. There we go. And then all I like to do is just straighten out the rose joint. Job's good. There we go.
Okay, so let's check out the 2 fastest laps from the pedals. So we've got the VRS at 1:33.864, and the best I did with the Mecas was a 1:33.987. So not a lot in it, just over a tenth and a little squidge. Setups are the same, even though they've got same different names. They are exactly the same setup. It's just I messed up saving them, so I had to make another file up. Right, so we're at turn 1 at Interlagos. Braking points not too far apart at all. So if we say 136 to 144, so what's that, 9? Yeah, really bad at maths. Not much in it. A little bit later on the Mecas. So VRS a lot slower up to threshold, a little bit wobbly. Mecas really nicely up to threshold. Peak pressure there 88 versus a 78 for the VRS. Got to remember, I did a Meca run first, and then I bolted the VRS back on the rig, and I just did like 5-6 laps, and this was the best lap out of those. So probably just getting used to the VRS again as well into turn 1. I think this was one of the first laps I did. So not looking great there on the brakes for the VRS, but the Meca's looking really good. They seem to make their time up in this mid phase of the corner. Yeah. So the Meca's made their time at this point here, which is just where we're getting back on the throttle. We've actually beaten the VRS back onto power because we've entered a little bit slower. You can just see there. The Mecas are just 5 kilometers an hour slower coming into the corner, which allowed us to get a nice tight line. If we zoom in, you can see we stayed really tight, whereas with the VRS, I've actually gone in a bit quicker, a bit hot, and I've floated out wide. So because of that, we've managed to get on the power just a tad earlier, and this is where we've got the time back. So we're nearly 8 kilometers an hour faster out of the corner at this point here. Where are we? So just before the second apex, we're traveling at 8 kilometers an hour faster. We didn't get up to full power, full throttle. We did have to have a bit of a lift to get over the apex, but we're still carrying pretty good speed. So at this point here, we're still 2.5 kilometers an hour faster, 2.4 kilometers an hour faster. So carrying the speed all the way out of the corner. So all the way around the next one. Do we keep carrying it? No. Then the VRS get it back. So yeah, there we go. So we have a little lift off here because we're actually going too fast. So we just had to have a little sissy lift. Whereas with the VRS, I've stayed flat, and then the VRS is overtaken, and we've just carried that couple of kilometers out of turn 3 all the way down the next straight. But Mecas were nearly 1.3 tenths quicker than the VRS through there. So let's have a look at turn 4 and 5. Another good corner. Braking points are damn near spot on. 12:01 to to 1204, so 3 meters. Mecas, sorry, are a lot quicker up to threshold. Peak pressure there of 89 versus the VRS, which has got a peak of 83. The VRS is a lot more flatter on a braking curve, which is what we'd prefer, and a roll off onto the VRS is a lot more shallow, and it rolls out all the way to the apex, and to the point I'm still on the brakes where I'm just picking up the throttle as well. Mecas, we actually beat the VRS onto the power, but if you look here, this is where we've gained all the time. So the VRS have carried 6 kilometers an hour more into that mid phase of that corner than the Mecas. And this is what I believe I said this when I was out driving. I'm struggling with the Mecas on the mid phase. So from turn in to apex, I just feel like on the brakes I'm struggling slightly compared to the VRS, and it's showing on the data here. From the turn in point, we're just carrying a few kilometers an hour quicker into the corner, and that's where we're making the time up. So because we're going a little bit slower, the Mecas do get on the power earlier, but the VRS beat them up to full throttle. We do have a little fluff there with the Mecas. We're able to get back on the power of the VRS. So at this point here, we're 2 kilometers down, but you'll see us catch up. So we're now 0.5 kilometers, and then as we go down the line, we're closing it down more and more. So we should see, yeah, as we get near the corner at the end, time should be pretty comparable, the top speed. So let's go to turn 6 and 7. Big show of confidence here on the brake. So big corner, this one, turning and braking at the same time, quite a high entry speed. So we're entering nearly the same speed, 0.2 kilometers an hour difference, but look at the difference on the brake. So 1870 for the Mecas to 1879 for the VRS. Very similar brake graphs. Peak pressure is around about spot on, so 75 to 72. So not a lot on the peak pressure. The curvature looks good for both of them, nice and steady up to threshold, and then a really good roll off. So with the Mecas, I am coming off the brakes a little earlier, and that's because I've braked earlier, whereas with the VRS, braked later, holding the pressure on all the way through the bend, which in turn is keeping the weight over the fronts and giving me plenty of front end grip. So you can see there the big difference in speed in between the two corners, so 9 kilometers an hour faster entry with the VRS. And again, it's that mid phase of the corner with the VRS. So from turn in to apex is where I'm getting time over the Mecas. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Got to say though, I think the Mecas have done really well, and I really like that brake graph. It's just a case of moving my brake point forward now, 9 meters or whatever it is, and then being able to recreate that. This is just a bit of lack of confidence on the brakes because I feel like I'm struggling. I think with a bit of time, a few more hours, I can sort that out and bring that forward to match the VRS. I think the graphs here are not justifying quite how good these Mecas are. They are very good. I'm actually going to say at this point they're closer to the VRS pedals than the Sprints are. Right. So let's have a look at the last turn. Another good solid braking point. So coming to the last turn, speeds very comparable, 0.3 kilometers an hour difference, off throttle same time, absolutely on the brake pedal at the same time. VRS are quicker up to threshold, which again is not always a good thing, and more peak threshold as well. So 79.2 versus the Mecas at 73. The Mecas we've rolled up quite nice and slowly, and pretty consistent pressure there, and we've held on. So we've actually got a bit back on that mid phase. So now we're at the turn-in phase, and we've managed to hold the brakes on really nicely all the way to the apex. Opposite with the VRS, I actually had a bit of a fluff here with them, and I've had to let off because I've braked earlier. I've had to let off pressure a little earlier to get to the apex, and then just a little stab at the last minute to get the nose down. So Mechas have beaten the VRS up to full throttle as well on the exit, but again, there's that big chunk of time there from the VRS in that mid phase. So you can see here, just as we're turning in towards the apex, we're carrying more speed, and it's 11 kilometers an hour difference into the apex there, which is where we're finding the time. And if you look at that timeline, wallop, it goes straight up for 0.225 seconds at this point, just carrying that more speed from the turn into the apex. Obviously, we've managed to beat the VRS to full throttle, but if we look at top speeds as we come out of the corner there, so the VRS have come out just slightly slower, just over, it's actually just over a kilometre an hour slower, which is quite a big difference. But yeah, and they've held that all the way down the straight. So although we've made quite a chunk of time up there, we have come out a little slower, and that's just because we have this fluff at the end, getting up to full power. So no, all in all, I think I'm really quite chuffed with what I've seen there from the Mechas. I think what we can say there is that the Mechas from this graph appear to be a lot closer to the VRS performance than the sprints. And I think that bodes well for them. They are a really solid pedal. I do like them, and I will say that if I hadn't had the VRS before I used these, I would have been buying these pedals for sure over the sprints. So this would have been my my upgrade from the sprints. That's where I'm sitting. Right, let's move on. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Where do I sit with the Mechas? I'll use one word to describe how I feel, and that is surprised. These pedals have just blown me away. And I think a lot of it comes down to their construction straight out of the bat. Using a 3mm stainless steel has made these pedals so strong in their construction. And I think that is where the performance comes from. They just don't move. They don't flex. They don't move around. They're almost over engineered for the job they've been asked to do. And it's brilliant because they feel so strong under your feet. It gives you confidence and allows you to push them to their limits. The throttle pedal for me, faceplate was a little bit too thin. It's no drama at all. It's pretty easy fix. I do hope Meca will watch your film and take my feedback from that and maybe just make a little adjustment to that throttle pedal. But you could probably live with it as well. I think with a bit of messing around and positioning and adjusting how the pedals sit, you'll find a comfortable position. Brake pedal is perfect. Probably the best rubber bump stop pedal I've ever used. And yeah, I just think a nice, dependable unit. It's not going to fall apart halfway through a race. They're built so strong, and I really like the adjustments. Nice and simple, mechanical pedal, easy to adjust. The clutch pedal, superb, absolutely superb. Such an interesting piece of engineering around the problem of a clutch pedal. So different to what everybody else has been doing in this range, and it works. It's really good. And I was really surprised. You saw my first launch just away from the line, nice and fast, no wheel spin, and it just gets better and better and better. And it's interesting to me that I picked up on the clutch pedal when we were doing the review in the previous video on my table, and how funky it was. I really liked the pull spring design with a rocker arm that looked like it was from a single seater. And to have it translated into something that really does work and works well. Big hats off to Meca for that. I really enjoyed it. Really good fun. So the pedals as a whole, I think they're great. Their only letdown is the software, which needs a bit of work. So you've got the two choices of software. You can either run Dive View, which is okay, but it's a little tricky to use. A lot of maths involved. Quite a bit of time messing around to get that to work. You can also jump onto the website and download the Meca beta software they have on there, which is I think it's a bit better than DiveView. It's a little easier to use, but still a bit clunky. I couldn't get the dead zones feature to work on their software. So, but it is beta, so I suppose they're making adjustments and they're improving it as they go along. Hopefully that'll get better and better, but for me that's only let down. I think in terms of the other two pedals, so the VRS and the Sprint, I think Meca are quite a way behind in terms of software. But in terms of hardware, so what we've got in front of us bolted to the rig, I'd put the Mecas right in between the two. So they're going to fall just behind the VRS and they're going to sit just in front of the Sprints. I think they're a good middle ground pedal. They perform very, very well. And why have I put it ahead of the Sprints? Well, I think in terms of fabrication and design, I think they're better. They're a stronger pedal. They've got a lot higher rating, and you're never going to use them at what they're rated for, that kind of level. So you've got that much more headroom to work with, which gives you much more stability. Whereas with the Sprints being only rated at 65 kilos, I found I was always using the Sprints absolutely flat out, and their construction's a lot lighter. They're made from mild steel. I think it's a thinner steel as well, maybe 2.5 mil, and I could feel them flexing the whole time. At that kind of level of use, any flex is just going to destroy confidence in a driver, and you're not going to get the best from them. That's my personal view, but you might have different. So pricing wise, I've just had a look at Race at Home's website, and they've got the Mecas up for sale there now. So the free pedal kit, including the base plate and all the spacers, they've got it advertised at the moment, 640 UK pounds. Now, as I mentioned before in the video, Bob from Race at Home has very kindly added a promo code for us to use. So if you go to checkout and buy those pedals, dial in smoking, SMO, I can't spell now, SMOKIN, smoking, you'll get a 10% discount. That takes the price of these pedals down to £576, which is around about €100 saving. Also, I noticed while I was on the website, if you're in the UK and you buy them, they do free shipping anywhere in the UK. So don't worry about that base plate being big and heavy. Bob's just going to send it out to you anyway free of charge. He's a good dude. If you do go over and buy a set of pedals off them, just mention that Smoking Steel Garage sent you on your way. It's just so that Bob knows that we've done a good job over here. Like I say, I'm not receiving any payment for this review whatsoever. I've just done it out of interest to see how good these pedals are and where they sit. But hopefully we can just push a few customers along to Bob and help him out as well. And then he might send me some more gear to review. Hopefully a full motion rig. That'd be nice. So we're going to wrap it up now. Thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, any suggestions, you've seen things we've done wrong or you don't like, leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't done so already, do make sure you have a like and subscribe, because that really helps your channel grow as well. And if we grow, we get to do more content. Anyway, I'll pop some videos up that might be of interest to you, and we'll catch you again soon. Cheers for watching.